Hi guys, how are you? I hope you're having a really great day. I wanted to show you some really great plants that I got down at the garden center, and they're house plants because it's still too cold to garden outside. One of our local garden centers held a book event right around Valentine's Day. Now this is March, so obviously I got these a little bit ago. My sister-in-law has written some books, and so she was there to promote her book, and there was lots of other authors. It was kind of an author event for you to go and talk to them and whatnot. So I used the opportunity to go scope out their plants, came back with a cart full, and it was kind of embarrassing, but I don't care because plants are amazing to me, and I hope they are to you too. So I wanted to show you and explain to you and tell you about the plants that I got, and then we're going to pot them up, and I'll try and find a place for them inside. The first plant I want to talk about is this gorgeous, and I have the plant tags here too to kind of help jog my memory, but this is a frost peperomia, and it is so dense in its growth. If you take a look at these, it kind of drapes down as it grows, and it's a lighter green on the underside, more of a true green, and then on the top it's got that frosted silvery look to it. So beautiful. A lot of your inside plants are going to be the same. They like bright light but not direct light because they're much more fragile. Now with house plants, if you're anything like me, if you see that a plant is failing in some way, whether it's drooping or it's losing its leaves, I just assume it's dry. So I am going to just love on it with some water, lots of water. And that's how I kill houseplants, is that I over water the houseplants because I just assume that water's going to fix everything. It could have a bug issue and I just water it and keep on going and just say, yep, we're good, I watered it. So you just want to pay attention to your houseplants as far as how much you're watering them because water isn't necessarily their friend, and they definitely don't need water every day. What you want to do is you just want to take your finger and just put it down into the soil about 2 inches, and if it's completely dry, then you know that it's time to water. I typically water my houseplants once a week. Sometimes I forget, so they're very patient with me, but sometimes not so much. But yes, generally once a week is fine, and you just want to, like a lot of these, you want to make sure that they are at least dry 2 inches down, and then thoroughly soak them, let the water drain out, and then you can put the saucer underneath it. You don't want the saucer to fill up with water. You want to dump that out immediately because they'll just continue to soak up that water. It'll seem dry in the saucer, but they're drowning in the pot. So you just want to make sure that you're not over watering. If you're watering on a consistent basis and it's still failing for some reason, take a look at the leaves, see if you can see any bug infestation. You can also take it down to your local garden center. They're very knowledgeable about bugs, bug issues. I actually have an app on my phone. I got this poof. I can't think of the name. The 2-ball topiary. It was a Eugenia, I believe. But according to the app, it told me that it had some sort of a fungal issue. So I'm going down to the store and I'm looking at the different products that would help alleviate this issue with this plant. One of the store workers came up to me and said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I bought these Eugenia ball topiaries here and they're failing. I don't know what the problem is. She said, you're probably overwatering. She said 9 times out of 10 with this particular plant, the problem is overwatering. And so she just suggested to lay off of the water and then just snip the ends and it should flush back. So I just, I'm learning. I'm still learning. Houseplants elude me sometimes. We just do the best we can, right? So anyway, long story short, do not overwater and just check by just putting your finger in the soil, okay? All right, so now I have a violets. They do come with their own mix, soil mix, because it's not just straight soil. It's also has some chunky bits to it like you would find in an orchid. I'm going to be using the soil that it came in plus some of this, so it'll be just fine. Same with this one. It likes bright light, but not direct light because it will burn the tips and the flowers won't do so great. But it's a fabulous plant. You touch the leaves and they're just very soft. And on the underside of this purple African violet has these really gorgeous burgundy leaves underneath. So I'm just really excited about this one. Same goes with this one for the watering. If you're not sure, stick your finger down in about 2 inches. If it's dry, give it some water. Do not drown it. That helps me to make sure that the root ball is saturated, but it's not going to be sitting in water, which is a good thing. This one is gorgeous. This one is a Tradescantia zebrina. Most common name is a wandering Jew. This one trails down and it will be really beautiful. It's a native of Mexico, so it is used to a lot of humidity. It likes humidity. Obviously, like any plant, it doesn't want to be sitting in water. It's not a water plant, but it does like to be in a humid area. If you are in an area where it's very dry, you can always mist it or give it just a little extra water. Or what is also a good idea is to kind of have a humidifier, especially in the winter months, near your plants, and that will help it tremendously. This next one I had to have because the leaves are so cool. So this is a philodendron. It's a Swiss cheese philodendron for obvious reasons. Looks like Swiss cheese. So I have some hanging baskets that I'm going to transplant it in once it outgrows the pot. The thing is that your plants don't want to go from like a 4-inch can like this to like say an 18-inch pot or even an 8-inch pot, because the roots don't really want that much space around them. They really like to be packed in tight. Not to say that they would be happy in this, but you just want to go up 1 pot size. This one has enough width around it so that it's going to be longer in size. The pot is longer than this one, but it's not so round, so big in circumference that the roots are going to be unhappy. They are going to be able to stay pretty tight, and that's what makes them happy. So again, same with the watering, check it with your finger, you're good to go. This one also likes bright indirect light, partial shade. So once this gets big enough that I can pot it into a hanging plant hanger, I'm going to put it in a window. I think it's facing east. And so it gets some bright light during the day, but it's not like a south-facing window where it will just get pummeled and get really a lot of heat because it will discolor its leaves. I had it under a grow light while I was waiting to get this video done, and you can see some of the foliage is discolored a bit. It's lighter. It doesn't have that dark color because the grow light was probably hanging lower than it should have been. So it'll green up and it'll be really beautiful. Okay, now this one, much like the purple African violet, obviously is a pink African violet. Has the really soft dark green leaves with the burgundy underneath and the very pink flowers, super sweet. So this is just the sweetest little plant I have ever seen. Now this is a succulent. It's called String of Turtles, and it looks exactly like its name. It looks like the backs of little turtles, and it is just the sweetest. I had to have it. So this, like we said, is a peperomia. This is also a form of a peperomia. It's called Peperomia prostrata. So this is in the same family, but a succulent. So there are succulent soil that you can buy. This soil is just fine for it because it doesn't hold on to a lot of moisture. Plus, what it's planted in, has some bark and whatnot. So this will be fine to add the soil around it. This one, also bright indirect light. You do not have to water this one as often as with succulents. They can be a bit drier, but you don't want to ignore them altogether. So just check when you do your weekly watering of your inside plants that just check to see, because it'll want to be completely dry, and then water and make sure that you've got really good drainage. This beauty, this one's called Neon Pothos. Look how gorgeous that chartreuse color is on both sides. And I'm not sure, to be honest, if it's because I had it under the grow light or not, but some of these leaves are variegated. Variegated just means that there are two or more colors on the leaf. Okay, so these ones are completely chartreuse in color. This one has a darker green with some chartreuse in it. So that makes it variegated, meaning more than one color. Okay. So same with this one, it likes to be moist, but not sopping wet. And once a week is plenty for this. This one will also trail quite a bit. So I've got some coworkers at my full-time job that have these on top of their desks, and they just trail. And they're so beautiful, but they can trail forever. Like they can grow really, really big. This one can also tolerate low light conditions. So they're good for bathrooms. Like this would be a really nice bright spot in my bathroom. The bathroom off our master bedroom has a window, and I just have it sitting on the windowsill, and it loves its life. And plus it's humid in there, obviously because of showers. I have a little watering can right there. So my daughter likes this one because she thinks that as it gets longer and longer, that it's going to like have hair like Rapunzel. Okay, this one I had to have because it is a showstopper. The colors in this are amazing. This one, I don't know if I'm saying it right. It's Black Velvet Alocasia, something to that effect. But if you look at this, you have the really dark leaves with the white veining, and then underneath, whoa, have a gorgeous burgundy with the light green veining. Absolutely a showstopper. So this one, again, just water it once a week, and it likes light conditions. I've already had to take one leaf off because I forgot to water it. So one thing I want to show you that you can do. Some people do, some people don't. It's not completely necessary, and I only do it if I have a pot that has a large drain hole. I take one of these mesh pads, and it's essentially the same material as a screen door. So that just helps. It doesn't keep any more water in, but it does keep the soil in and less of a mess. So, but again, I only do that if it's got a really large drain hole at the bottom. So I am going to put these aside, and I'm going to get some soil together, and we'll start potting them up. This is what we're going to use for our potting mix, nice and organic, if I don't kill my plants by having it fall on top of it. So this is also pretty light and fluffy, not as fluffy as our seed starting mix, but I am still going to put a little bit of moisture in it so that there's not a lot of air pockets in my pots once I get them in. So just not a lot, just enough, like the seed starting mix, to just get it moist but not saturated. I don't want dripping water coming out of it. Okay, so I've got my little mesh disc in here. I'll do it over here. Okay, so you want to just eye up your, what was I going to plant in here? This guy. So you just want to eye up how big the nursery can is. Ooh, look at those gorgeous roots. Wow. So if your plant is really root bound, you can tease it a bit at the bottom and even on the sides if it's like really wrapped around. But these really aren't. But I'm just teasing it, just letting it out. And then place it inside. I've got too much soil. Okay. Put it in there, and then you just put some soil around it to make sure that the root ball is nice and tucked in. Okay. And then when you're done, water it in, make sure it gets all nice and settled down and tucked in its new home. So then I'm just going to pot up the rest of these doing the exact same thing, and then we'll take a look at them when I'm done. I have them all potted up in their little homes, and I think they're going to be very happy. Now, you'll notice that some of them have their own little saucer that came with it, and some do not. It doesn't matter. If you're really, really wanting everything to be matchy-matchy, that's fine. I got these actually with plants in them, and they didn't come with a saucer, but right now I have white, and that's okay with me. Now, one thing I didn't mention when I was going through the pots and all that is, what if you have a sweet little pot like this, but it has 0 drain holes? That is a problem if you're a heavy waterer, but you just have to just know that this does not have a drain hole and go easy on the watering. If you see any water seeping around the sides, you might want to just kind of do one of these. Kind of put your hand over it and just kind of let some of it drain out. So it is kind of dangerous to have a pot with no drainage hole, but just be vigilant. Now, I did go through and I watered them all in. This watering can is probably not best. The exit hole here is way too big for these little guys. So I do have a smaller one I actually bought for my daughter that I steal all the time, or I let her do it because she loves to help me water. So you just want to go in and just give it some water, just enough so that it kind of goes around the plant, around the roots, and then they're good until next week when I will do the process again. One more thing before I go. The only food and nutrition that these plants are going to get is going to come from you. You need to give them some food. Some people give a small amount every week when they water, and that's totally fine. There's one here from Bonide. It's an organic product. It's for African violets specifically. There's directions for if you want to feed them every week or just like every month. So there's different amounts of this food that you would mix in with your water and then water the violets. Now, this one I'm also going to be using on my seedlings. It's from Espoma, it's organic. These are both from concentrate, so you have to add them both to water when you do your watering. But these are really good to keep your plants thriving, and since you're watering every week anyway, you might as well give them a little food. There's other products out there. These are just a couple that I've been using and having some really good success. So just an idea. Let's keep them as healthy as possible and do not overwater like me. Okay, I hope you guys are having a really great day. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something. If you have any comments, put them down below in the video, and you know, we'll all grow and learn together. So have a great day. Bye.